Okay, now let's see how America entered into the First World War. So, naval battles and America's entry into the war. So, till now, America didn't enter into the First World War, but after 1960, Lusitania, an American ship, was torpedoed by a German submarine. So, after this, America declared a war against Germany. Okay, so now the war is happening between America and Germany. The next heading is the Armistice and Treaty of Versailles. So Germany ultimately surrendered in November 1918. So Germany is surrendered now. And then the abdication of the Kaiser William II. Abdication means Kaiser William II is died. Okay, so then peace conference in Paris. So there is a conference in Paris. Its name is Paris Peace Conference. The peace conference opened in Paris in January 1990, 2 months after the signing of the armistice. So who are all signing the Paris Peace Conference? Woodrow Wilson, USA, and Lloyd George, Prime Minister of England, and Clemenceau, Prime Minister of France. Okay, so these three people are signing this treaty. Provisions of the treaty. So the first point is Germany was found guilty of starting the war and therefore was to pay reparations for the losses suffered. All central powers were directed to pay war indemnity. So Germany has started the war against this Russia and America. No, so Germany want to pay the indemnity na avanga இழப்பீடு கொடுக்கணும், that is 6,600 million pounds. So Germany has to pay the indemnity. The German army was to be limited to 1 lakh men. A small navy was allowed. So they has to limited the army. Okay, so army வந்து கம்மி பண்ணணும், 1 lakh தான் இருக்கணும், அதுக்கு மேலே இருக்கக்கூடாது அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. Okay, the third point is the union of Austria and Germany was forbidden. So Austria and Germany should not be in a relationship, that should be separated. Or German colonies became mandated territories under the League of Nations. So the colonies of Germany was to came under the League of Nations. Germany was forced to revoke the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk with Russia and Bachast, that is Bulgaria. Alsace-Lorraine was returned to France. The former Russian territories to Finland, Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania were to be independent. So these are all the treaties followed after the Paris Peace Conference. So this is the important detail, that is detail 2. The first 5 points you have to write it. Separate treaties were drawn up and signed by the allies with Austria, Hungary, Bulgaria and Turkey. The treaty with Turkey, that is Treaty of Serfs, though accepted by the Sultan, failed because of the resistance of Mustafa Kemal Pasha and his followers. So this treaty is accepted by Sultan, but it's failed because of this Mustafa Kemal Pasha. Okay, fallout of the First World War, that is the First World War happens in 1914 to 1917. So nearly 4 years. So 8 million people had died in this 4 years. So the outcome in all the countries is there is a shortage of men, etc. because many people were killed in the war. No, so there is shortage of this men. America entered the war as a debtor country, but it emerged as the money lender to the world in the aftermath of the war. So America entered the war later only. No, so America entered later. So it became a debtor, that is it became as a money lender country. Money lender na அவங்க தான் வந்து மற்ற கண்ட்ரீஸ்க்குலாம் வந்து பணம் கொடுக்குறாங்க. அந்த அளவுக்கு அமெரிக்கா வந்து என்ன சொல்கிறது, அவங்களோட ரிசோர்ஸ் நல்லா இருக்குது. Okay, so Mustafa Kemal Pasha played a remarkable role for Turkey's rebirth as a nation. Kemal Pasha modernized Turkey and changed it out of all recognition. So Mustafa Kemal Pasha, so he played an important role for Turkey's rebirth as a nation. Okay, and impact of India. So the British recruited a vast contingent of Indians to serve in Europe. India contributed nearly 230 million in cash and over 125 million in loans towards war expenses. India also sent war materials to the value of 250 million. Okay, so India வந்து இவ்வளோ ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க, இதுக்காக அந்த வார்க்காக வந்து இவ்வளோ சப்போர்ட் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. So why India supported is, so what is the reason behind this support is, so let's see. The war conditions led to the rise of home rule movement in India. So about this you will study about this later. Okay, so this war conditions led to the rise of home rule movement in India. India and Indians had taken an active part in the war, believing that Britain would reward India's loyalty, but only disappointment was in store. So எதுக்காக இந்தியா ஹெல்ப் பண்ணாங்க அப்படின்னா, why India has taken part in the war is, what is the reason behind that is, ஸோ நம்மளுக்கு வந்து ஒரு ரிலீஃப் கொடுக்குறாங்க, அதாவது நம்மளை விடுதலை பண்ணிடுவாங்க அப்படின்னு நினச்சி இந்தியா வந்து அதில் ஜாயின் பண்ணியிருப்பாங்க. ஓகே, பட் ஒன்லி டிசப்பாயின்மெண்ட் வாஸ் இன் ஸ்டோர். Next heading is Russian Revolution and its impact. So the biggest outcome of the war, the Russian Revolution, was unique in world history. The socio-political and economic conditions prevailing in Russia were brought to a head by the vast losses and sufferings caused by the war. So because of war, because of this First World War, Russia has faced many losses in social and economic conditions. So there were really two revolutions in the year 1917, one in March and the other in November. So on the abdication of the Tsar, the bourgeois government which followed wanted to continue the war, but the people were against it. So the people are against the government. So there was a second great uprising under the guidance their leader Lenin, who seized power and established a communist government in Russia. Okay, so Russia has suffered many losses, so but the people were against the government. Why is because the government want to continue the war, so people don't like. Okay, so people don't want to continue the war like that, so that they are against the government. But after that there is a leader whose name is Lenin, but he established a communist government in Russia. Okay, so after that, causes of the revolution, that is social and revolutionary causes. And the next heading is autocracy of the Tsar, that is Tsar Nicholas II of Romanov dynasty had little experience of government, and these are all the things about him. Okay, we'll move to the next part. So the next heading is takeover by the Bolshevik party under Lenin's leadership. So in October, Lenin persuaded the Bolshevik Central Committee to decide on immediate revolution. This Bolshevik party was renamed the Russian Communist Party, and this won in the election. Okay, and the next heading is outcome of the revolution. The Russian Communist Party eliminated illiteracy and poverty in Russia within a record time. Russian industry and agriculture developed remarkably. So you know about what is illiteracy and poverty, no? So படிப்பறிவு இல்லாததையும் வறுமை அப்படின்றதையும் வந்து அவங்க வந்து எலிமினேட் பண்ணுறாங்க. அந்த அளவுக்கு வந்து அந்த கண்ட்ரி டெவலப் ஆகுது. ஓகே, so women were given equal rights, including rights to vote. Industries and banks were nationalized. Land was announced as social property. Land was distributed to poor peasants. So like that, this country is developing. Okay, and the next important thing is Pravda is a Russian word meaning truth. It was the official newspaper of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union from 1918 to 1991. So the next heading is League of Nations. So what is the reason to form this League of Nations is to stop the war. So hereafter there should not be war happening, no. So for that they are creating this League of Nations. Okay, Britain, France, Italy, Japan and the United States were originally declared permanent members of the council. Each member had one vote, and since all decisions had to be unanimous, even the small nations possessed the right of veto. The secretariat at the League of Nations was located at Geneva. Clear, children? And then the objectives of the League. The twofold objective of the League of Nations was to avoid war and to maintain peace in the world. So these are all the objectives of the League: to avoid the war and to maintain peace in the world, and to promote international cooperation in economic and social affairs. The difficulty in achieving the objects was increased from the beginning by the absence of three great powers. Okay, so 3 great powers are not declared in this League of Nations. So we'll see what are all the powers. That is USA. USA did not become a member of this League of Nations. Second one is Germany, a defeated nation, no? So that Germany didn't participate in the League of Nations. And then Russia. Later two joined in 1926 and 1934. Later Germany and Russia joined in the League of Nations in the year of 1926 and 1934. While Germany resigned in 1933, so it joined in 1926 and resigned in 1933, Russia was expelled in 1939. So Russia வந்து வெளியே தள்ளிட்டாங்க. Okay. So due to this, later this League of Nations is failed. Clear, children? The next heading is activities of the League. The League was called into settle a number of disputes between 1920 to 1925. Disputes is nothing but problems. So this League is solving many problems that happens between 1920 to 1925. The League was successful in 3 issues. So 3 issuesல வந்து இந்த League வந்து solutions பண்ணி வச்சிருக்காங்க. Okay, we'll see the issues now. In 1920, a dispute arose between Sweden and Finland over the sovereignty of the Åland Islands. Okay, ஸ்வீடனுக்கும் ஃபின்லாண்டுக்கும் ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம் கிரியேட் ஆகுது. இந்த ஐலாண்டை வந்து யார் வச்சுக்கிறது அப்படின்னு. ஓகேயா, ஸோ த லீக் ரூல்டு தட் தி ஐலாண்ட் ஷுட் கோ டு ஃபின்லாண்ட். Okay, so this is the first issue that is cleared by this League of Nations. The second thing is, in the following year, the League was asked to settle the frontier between Poland and Germany in the Upper Silesia, which was successfully resolved by the League. The second problem which happens between Poland and Germany is also cleared by this League. The third dispute was between Greece and Bulgaria in 1924. The third problem is between Greece and Bulgaria. Greece invaded Bulgaria and the League ordered a ceasefire. Okay, so Greece தான் வந்து பல்கேரியாவை ப்ராப்ளம் பண்ணுறாங்க. ஓகேயா, ஸோ வாட் தி லீக் ஆர்டர்ட் இஸ் டு பி சீஸ்ஃபயர் மீன்ஸ் அந்த வந்து வாரை வந்து நிறுத்தணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. ஓகேயா, இதுக்கப்புறம் ப்ராப்ளம் பண்ணக்கூடாது அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. ஆஃப்டர் இன்வெஸ்டிகேஷன் இட் பிளேம்ட் Greece and decided that Greece was to pay reparations. Okay, so Greece மேலே தான் ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்குன்னு தெரிஞ்ச அப்புறம் என்ன சொல்கிறாங்க, Greece வந்து அவங்களுக்கு இது கொடுக்கணும், அதாவது என்ன சொல்கிறது, இழப்பீடு கொடுக்கணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. Clear, children? Thus the league has been successful. Thus, the League has been successful until the signing of the Locarno Treaty in 1925. By this treaty, Germany, France, Belgium, Great Britain and Italy mutually guaranteed peace in Western Europe. Thereafter, Germany joined the League was given a permanent seat on the Council. The next heading is violations. So one of the major problems confronting the European powers was how to achieve disarmament. So what do you mean by disarmament? ஆயுதங்களை வந்து குறைக்கிறதுன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க இல்லையா? So that's disarmament. In 1925, the Council of the League set up a commission to hold a disarmament conference to sort out the problem. But the proposed conference materialized only in February 1932. So they are deciding to form a commission in 1925, but it happens only in 1932. Materialized is nothing but implementation. Okay. So in this conference, Germany's demand of equality of arms with France was rejected. So what Germany is asking, ஸோ ஃப்ரான்ஸை மாதிரி நாங்களும் ஈக்குவல் இது வச்சுருப்போம் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. ஓகேயா, என்ன சொல்கிறது, ஈக்குவல் ஆர்ம்ஸ் அப்படின்னா அந்த டூல்ஸ், ஓகேயா, அதெல்லாம் வச்சுருப்போம் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. இன் அக்டோபர் ஹிட்லர் வித்ட்ரா ஜெர்மனி ஃப்ரம் தி கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் அண்ட் தி லீக். ஸோ because of this the permission was rejected. Okay, so Hitler withdrew the Germany from the conference and the league. Japan attacked Manchuria in September 1931 and the league condemned Japan. Okay, so Japan is attacking Manchuria in 1931 and the league was condemned by Japan was condemned by the league. Condemned means அவங்க வந்து இதெல்லாம் தப்பு, நீங்கள் அதை பண்ணக்கூடாது அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அவங்க சொல்கிறாங்க. ஓகேயா, ஸோ Japan also followed the example of Germany and resigned from the league. So now Germany and Japan is resigned from the league. Okay, so in the context of Italy's attack on Ethiopia, the league applied sanctions. Okay, as the sanctions came into effect, Italy resigned from the league. Okay, now 3 countries are resigned from this league. What are they? Germany, Japan and Italy. Okay, so thereafter the league was a passive witness to events, taking no part in the crisis over the Rhineland, Austria and Czechoslovakia and Poland. Okay, so in the countries kedaila problem agudhu, but this league is not taking any actions or taking part in the crisis. So the last decisive action it took was in December 1939 when Russia was expelled for her attack on Finland. The assembly did not meet again and the League of Nations was finally dissolved in 1946. So this League of Nations is dissolved in 1946. The last heading is causes of failure. The league appeared to be an organization of those who were victorious in the First World War. So what it looks like is அந்த லீக் வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வேர்ல்டு வாரில் வின் பண்ணியிருப்பாங்க இல்லையா, ஸோ அவங்களுக்கு ஃபேவராக இருக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்குது. ஓகே, ஸோ சின்ஸ் இட் லேக்ட் தி மிலிட்ரி பவர் ஆஃப் இட்ஸ் ஓன், இட் குட் நாட் என்ஃபோர்ஸ் இட்ஸ் own decision. Okay, so it doesn't have the own military power, so it could not enforce its own decision. The founders of this peace organization underestimated the power of nationalism. The principle of collective security could not be applied in actual practice. When Italy, Japan and Germany, headed by dictators, refused to be bound by the orders of the League, Britain and France were the only major powers to act decisively. Okay, Italy, Japan and Germany, so these are all controlled by dictators. Dictators means sarvadhigaram. So anga vandu sarvadhigaram irundanaala, so they could not be bounded by the orders of the League. So League வந்து சொன்ன மாதிரி அவங்களால ஃபாலோ பண்ண முடியல. Only Britain and France were the only major powers to act decisively. ஸோ அவங்க 2 பேர் மட்டும்தான் அவங்களோட ஓன் டெசிஷனால் அவங்களால போக முடியுது. Clear children? So that's all. First lesson is over.